Let me give it to you straight. Detachment isn't something that just happens with time. It's not a spiritual mantra you repeat, nor a just distract yourself kind of game. If it were, we wouldn't see people still haunted by a memory years after it happened, reliving it as if it just happened yesterday. The problem isn't you trying to let go. The problem is what that person represents in your mind. A story you built, a promise left unfulfilled, a version of you that still clings to that connection. That's why no matter how hard you try to ignore it, it keeps resurfacing. Not because it's love, but because your mind is trapped in an illusion. Carl Jung said it best, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. If you don't understand this, you'll stay tied to a shadow. But if you're watching this right now, it means a part of you is ready to wake up. So today, I'm going to give you the 10 most powerful keys to let go without pain. You've heard me talk about detachment before, you've heard the 7 lessons for emotional release. But this video? It's different, it's deeper. It's going to complement everything you've already learned and take it further. I don't care how long you've been stuck in the cycle. What matters is what you do next. These are pure gold keys to break that toxic tie for good. Stay with me until the end, and I promise when you finish this video, you'll look at that person and yourself through a completely new lens. And if someone you know needs to hear this, share it. You never know, this might be the exact moment they needed to set themselves free. Key 1. Accept that attachment is a trap of the unconscious. Listen closely. You're not tied to that person because you need them. They're not the love of your life. They're not irreplaceable. What's holding you captive is something much deeper, your unconscious mind. Jung's words weren't poetic, they were piercing truth. Until you shine a light on what's hiding inside, your unconscious will call the shots. And you'll keep wondering why you're always stuck in the same pain over and over again. Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried to forget someone really tried, but no matter how much time passes, something inside keeps dragging you back? You tell yourself you've moved on, but deep down, you haven't. And here's the truth, no one tells you. Attachment isn't love. What really has you stuck isn't the person, it's what they represented in your mind. Let's break it down. Imagine walking through a dark room. Everything is pitch black. You take a step and trip over something. You feel pain, frustration, confusion. But instead of checking what you just tripped on, you keep going blindly and you trip again and again. Same place, same pain. That's your pattern. You're not stuck because that person was the one. You're stuck because you haven't illuminated what they mean to you. Here's the hard question. What did you actually lose when they left? Don't answer too quickly. Most people rush to say, I lost someone I loved. But that's rarely the full truth. If you feel empty without them, it's because they were filling a void you never learned to face alone. If you feel insecure, it's because their validation made you feel enough. If life lost meaning after they left, it's because they were your only source of feeling alive. But that's not love. That's emotional dependence. And if you don't face that, you'll stay attached not just to this person, but to anyone who triggers the same emotions in you. Because the problem was never them. The problem is, you haven't yet learned to give yourself everything you expect from someone else. Let's get clearer. If you never felt truly loved as a child, your attachment isn't to them, it's to the feeling of being seen. If you've always struggled with feeling like enough, your attachment is to someone who temporarily made you feel worthy. If loneliness has followed you for years, your attachment is really the fear of being left with yourself. And here's the kicker. Even if they came back, none of that would disappear. Because what you're looking for was never in them. It's in you. This is where most people fail. They think they can fix attachment with distraction, with time, with someone new. But what they're really doing is running from themselves. And if you keep running, this doesn't end. You'll change relationships, cities, routines, but the pain will find you again and again. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. This is Soy Mente Fuerte, and I'm here to tell you the truth, even when it hurts. Because the truth may sting for a moment, But the lie, that can poison you for life. So, if you really want to let go, stop looking out there. Start looking in here. Ask yourself, what am I trying to fill with this person? If you can't answer that question, the problem isn't attachment. The problem is you don't know yourself yet. And until you face that shadow, you'll keep tripping in the dark. Key 2, stop idealizing that person. This one's going to hurt, but it's the only way forward. You don't miss them. You miss the lie your mind created about them. It's that simple. If you truly miss them for who they are, you'd remember everything, not just the good stuff. But you don't. Your brain edits the film. It deletes the arguments. It erases the neglect. It minimizes the disrespect. It keeps only the highlight reel, the moments that made your heart race, the smiles, the way it felt like everything finally made sense. But here's the brutal truth. Your mind needs that story to survive. Let me show you how it works. Have you ever wanted a specific car or outfit and suddenly you start seeing it everywhere? It didn't just appear. Your brain was focused on it. That's how attention works. It's the same with that person. Your mind has been conditioned to focus only on what confirms the belief they were special. If you believe they were the love of your life, your brain will highlight every moment that proves it. If you think they understood you like no one else, your mind will delete all the times they ignored you. If you believe no one else will compare, your brain will compare everyone unfavorably, just to prove that belief true. It's a trap. A beautiful, convincing illusion crafted by your unconscious. And unless you wake up to that truth, you'll stay loyal to a version of love that never really existed. So let me ask you something. If that person, right now in this exact moment, treated you the way they did at their worst, cold, dismissive, distant, would you really want to be with them again? If your answer is no, then why are you still suffering for the memory? Because here's the truth. You're not mourning the real person. You're mourning the version of them you created in your mind. You're clinging to what you wanted to see, not what actually was. And the more you idealize them, the smaller you become. Because every time you place someone on a pedestal, you shrink below it. You start to believe you'll never find someone like them again. And you're right. You won't, because they were never really like that to begin with. It was an illusion, a reflection of your own unmet needs, a projection of your own unhealed parts. Carl Jung put it clearly. We do not see things as they are, we see them as we are. You didn't love them. You loved what they reflected back to you. If you felt seen, it's because they echoed the love you've always craved. If you felt safe, it's because their presence mimicked the stability you never built within. If you felt important, it's because, for once, someone seemed to value what you never learned to value in yourself. And when they left, all of that vanished. But why? Because none of it came from them. It was always yours. They were just the mirror, a mirror that broke. And now you're left staring into the truth unfiltered. That's scary, because now you have to become everything you once looked for outside. That's the only way the cycle ends. Detachment doesn't happen with time. It doesn't happen by distraction or by jumping into something new. Detachment happens through truth. And the truth is this: they weren't who you imagined. If they were, you wouldn't be suffering. You wouldn't be here. It's time to stop romanticizing pain. Let detachment begin, not with anger, but with clarity. Remember everything, not just the beautiful moments. Remember what hurt. Remember what broke you. Remember what made you question your worth. And then ask yourself, do I really want to keep hurting over someone who was never who I thought they were? If you can answer that with honesty, you've just taken one massive step toward real freedom. Now, let's dive even deeper. Because if idealizing someone keeps you stuck, the next key reveals why even knowing the truth still isn't enough. You've rationalized, you've journaled, you've talked to friends, and still, part of you keeps going back. Why? Key 3. Understand the pain doesn't come from the loss, it comes from the resistance. Let me pause and ask something uncomfortable. Are you suffering because they left, or because you haven't accepted that they did? We don't hurt because something ends. We hurt because we resist that ending. It's not the breakup that breaks you, it's the internal war against reality. You're not being crushed by the absence. You're being crushed by the refusal to accept it. Because deep down, part of you is still waiting for the message, the apology, the plot twist that brings them back, waiting for the right person, wrong time story to finally correct itself. And in that wait, you destroy yourself. Imagine holding onto a rope, gripping it tight, muscles tense, pulling with everything you've got. On the other end, someone is pulling too. There's tension, resistance, struggle. And suddenly, they let go. But you don't. Your hands are still clenched. Your body's still shaking. You're still pulling against nothing. That's what it's like to keep holding on after someone has already let go. The pain you feel isn't theirs anymore. It's yours. And it's not coming from them. It's coming from your refusal to release the rope. Yes, accepting it is brutal. Because acceptance means seeing reality without the filter of hope. It means giving up the story, the what-ifs, the fantasy of reunion. And that is terrifying. But listen to me carefully. Denying reality won't change it. If they left, they left. If they replaced you, they did. If they walked away without explanation, that's what happened. And the more you fight that, the longer you suffer. Because what's hurting you isn't them. It's you clinging to what no longer exists. Look around. The world is moving. Days pass. Seasons shift. Time flows. And the only one stuck is you. So how much longer will you keep resisting? How much longer will you keep living in a story that's already over? The rope is burning your hands. Let it go. And now that you've started to loosen your grip, there's something else we need to address, something invisible but incredibly powerful. Key 4, remove emotional anchors. This is where most people fall, not because they don't want to let go, but because their environment keeps dragging them back. Let me explain. When someone's recovering from addiction, what's the first thing they're told? Change your surroundings. Don't go to the same places. Don't hang out with the same people. Don't keep the same routines. Why? Because everything in that environment acts as an anchor, something that pulls you back into the same cycle. And emotional attachment works the same way. You keep going back to them not because you want to, but because your world is full of reminders. That old chat you refuse to delete. That photo you still look at late at night. That song you play just to feel something again. That cafe you accidentally visit hoping you'll see them again. These are emotional anchors. Invisible chains that keep you stuck even when your mind says it's time to move on. Let me paint a picture. Imagine trying to cross a river with a backpack full of rocks. You want to reach the other side. You're moving, but every step is heavy. Every moment feels harder. Until eventually, you collapse. Not because the river was too deep, but because you never dropped the weight. That's you, trying to move on while still carrying everything that keeps you attached. If you're serious about letting go, really serious, then it's time to cut those anchors. Unfollow. Delete the messages. Archive the photos. Stop visiting their profile. Cut contact even just as friends. Why? Because as long as the past has a place in your present, you can't build a future. Every time you look back, you reopen the wound. Every just checking in resets the healing. Every scroll through old conversations rewires your brain back into longing. And for what? Let me ask you a brutal question. If they were still in your life completely, would you feel peace? Or would you feel tension, confusion, anxiety? If your peace lives outside of their presence, they're not your peace. They're your addiction. You want to be free? Close the door. Not halfway. Not when you feel ready. No, because here's the truth. If you leave the door cracked open, you will go back through it. Again and again. And each time you do, it gets harder to leave. Not because they've changed, but because you have started to forget the truth, which leads us to something even deeper, something most people never understand. Key 5. Remove the special meaning you assigned. This is the root. This is the real reason you're still stuck. It's not about the person. It's about what they meant to you. You're not tied to them. You're tied to the story you created about them. In your mind, they were special, unique, irreplaceable. The only one who saw you, who made you feel something real. But let me ask you something important. Was that meaning really coming from them, or was it something you gave them? Because here's the most uncomfortable truth. No one is special until you decide they are. Your mind gave them that title. Your brain made them sacred. Your emotions carved a pedestal, and you climbed down below it. If you ever crossed paths with them on a random street, a stranger, no history, they would mean nothing. But they validated you. They saw you when no one else did. They gave you the tiniest glimpse of what you've been craving your whole life. And now, they're everything. But are they really? Think about this. You pass hundreds of people every day. You don't think about them. You don't dream about them. You don't write poems for them. Why? Because they hold no meaning in your story. But the moment someone listens, validates, makes you feel something, boom, they become the one. Not because they were, but because you needed them to be. This is the lie your brain feeds you, that it was them, when really, it was you. You created the meaning. You built the story. You made them special. And if that power came from you, then you can take it back. In Soy Mente Fuerte, I'm not here to comfort you with sweet lies. I'm here to tell you the truth. Love doesn't bind us to people. Meaning does. If you think they were the one, you'll never want to let go. If you think no one will love you like that again, you'll stay closed. If you think what you had was once in a lifetime, you'll always look back. But what if all of that was wrong? What if they weren't the one? What if it wasn't magic, just timing? What if the meaning you gave them was a projection, not reality? If you're brave enough to question that, something inside you will shatter. And when it does, you'll see clearly for the first time. They weren't that special. You made them special. And if you gave them that power, you can reclaim it. And now that you see the illusion, now that you've questioned the story, you're ready to do the hardest thing of all. Key 6. Break the narrative that keeps you tied. You're not stuck because you need that person. You're stuck because you keep telling yourself a story that keeps you there. You've become the narrator of your own suffering. I'll never get over them. They were the best thing that happened to me. No one will ever love me like that again. If I had done things differently, we'd still be together. If someone else told you that every day, you'd walk away. You'd say they're toxic. So why are you saying it to yourself? That's self-abuse. That's you hypnotizing yourself into believing a pain that can end. You want to let go? You have to change the story. Here's how. Step 1. Identify the narrative. Write it down. Every belief. Every repeated phrase. Be raw. Be honest. I lost something irreplaceable. No one will make me feel like that again. This was my only shot at real love. Step 2. Question the story. Now look at each sentence. Ask yourself, is this fact or just a feeling? Was it really irreplaceable? If it was love, why did it leave you broken? Is no one capable of loving you again, or is that just fear talking? Dissect it. Shred it with logic. Because what you'll find is this. Most of what you believe is fiction. Step 3. Write a new narrative. Your past story. I can't do this without them. Your new one. I'm learning to stand fully in myself. Old story. They were the one. New story. They were a mirror showing me what I needed to heal. Because this is the truth. You choose the story you live by. You can keep living in one that traps you, or create one that sets you free. Let's go all the way now to the root of your freedom. You've questioned the story, you've removed the emotional anchors, but something inside still pulls. That inner ache, that tug in your chest, that hollow space when everything gets quiet, it's not about them. It's something deeper. Key 7. Face the emptiness without trying to escape it. This is where most people break. Not because they can't let go, but because they've never learned to sit with themselves. See, when a relationship ends, it's not just the person who disappears. It's the noise, the calls, the messages, the constant hum of someone's there. And when that vanishes, what's left? Silence. You. And if you've never learned how to feel whole by yourself, that silence can feel like death. So people run to new relationships, to temporary thrills, to endless scrolling, to whatever numbs the ache fastest. But here's the trap. Nothing external can fill a void that's internal. You can distract yourself. You can date someone new. You can stay busy. But eventually, that empty space catches up. It shows up at night. It shows up in quiet moments. It shows up when the phone doesn't light up. And in that stillness, the truth whispers. You weren't just attached to them. You were using them to avoid yourself. That's the pain no one wants to face. But here's the breakthrough. That void, it's not there to destroy you. It's there to reveal you. It's showing you everything you haven't healed. Everything you've abandoned. Everything you've outsourced to other people. You want to be free? Sit with it. Sit with the ache. Sit with the loneliness. Don't run. Don't escape. Ask yourself, who am I when no one is validating me? What do I want that has nothing to do with a relationship? What part of me have I neglected for years? Because until you answer that, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. You'll keep using people as emotional crutches, not because you want to, but because you've never learned how to walk on your own. So stop. Stop trying to fill it. Feel it. That's where healing begins. Because when you can sit in your own silence and not feel afraid, that's when attachment dies. Which leads us to a powerful truth. Key 8. Rebuild your identity. You didn't just lose a relationship. You lost yourself. That's why it still hurts. Because in that relationship, everything made sense. Your routines, your future, even your worth. And when it ended, it wasn't just the person who left. It was the version of you who existed through them. Now there's a hole. Not because they were irreplaceable, but because your identity was wrapped around them. Think about it. Your days used to revolve around that person. Their name was your first thought in the morning, your last thought at night. They were in your messages, your plans, your dreams. Even when they weren't around, their presence filled your mind. Then suddenly, they're gone, and so is your direction. Now you don't just miss them, you miss you. But here's the gift hidden in the loss. This is your chance to become someone new, someone whole, someone who doesn't disappear when someone else leaves. So, rebuild, not around someone else, around yourself. Ask, who am I without them? What do I care about that has nothing to do with anyone else? What lights me up, even if no one claps for it? Reclaim your mornings. Reshape your space. Create new routines. Try new things, even if they feel awkward. This isn't about moving on. It's about moving inward. Because detachment isn't about forgetting someone. It's about remembering you, and when you become your own center, no one else can ever pull you off balance again. And now that you've started to rebuild, here's what's next. Key 9. Stop waiting to feel ready and just let go. This is the biggest trap. Most people say, I'll let go when it doesn't hurt anymore. I'll move on when I'm sure I won't go back. I'll block them when I stop missing them. But that moment, it rarely comes. Why? Because detachment doesn't feel good at first. It feels raw, scary, painful. So we keep waiting. We think one day we'll wake up and it'll all be easy. But that's not how healing works. You don't feel peace before you let go. You feel it after. The action comes first. The clarity comes later. You want to stop hurting? You have to act while it still hurts. Delete the number. Mute the playlist. Unfollow the profile. Leave the memory. Not because you feel ready, but because that's how you become ready. And yes, it will hurt. But every time you choose freedom over familiarity, you get stronger. So here's the rule. Don't wait for readiness. Move through the discomfort. That's the only way out. Which leads us to the final and most powerful truth of all. Key 10. Let go with gratitude, not resentment. You've come this far. You've faced the shadows. You've broken the illusion. You've cut the anchors. You've sat with the pain. You've started rebuilding. But here's what still might be holding you back. Bitterness. You've let them go physically. But emotionally, you're still angry. You still replay the betrayal. You still want justice. You still want an apology that may never come. And that is your final chain. Because here's the truth. You can't heal with hate in your heart. You can't truly be free if you're still hoping they feel pain. If you're still checking if karma has arrived. If you're still asking, why me? So let me offer you something radical. Gratitude. Not because they were perfect. Not because they treated you well. Not because they deserve it. But because in their own flawed, painful way, they woke you up. That heartbreak, it cracked open your old identity. That silence, it forced you to listen inward. That rejection, it made you realize you were never meant to shrink for someone else. So don't hate the experience that gave you your strength. Don't curse the chapter that made you see clearly. Be thankful for the pain, not because it was fair, but because it freed you. Gratitude doesn't mean wanting them back. It means you've released the story. It means you've taken the lesson. And it means you're done carrying the weight. So let go, with peace, with clarity, with a full heart, not a clenched fist. Because when you can remember them without hurting, when you can speak their name without feeling anything, when you can walk forward without looking back, that's when you know you're free. And that is the beginning of a whole new life. A life where you no longer orbit around someone else's gravity. A life where you no longer beg to be chosen. A life where you no longer chase closure, because you are your own closure. So comment it below. I am free. I belong to myself. Write it, say it, feel it, until it becomes your truth. And if this video helped you, share it with someone else who needs it. Like it to let this message reach more souls like yours. And subscribe to this channel because together we grow stronger every day. You are Mente Fuerte. And your new chapter begins right now.